Hello everyone and welcome to our circle and Salve Women. Today I get to share with you one of my ultimate favorite movies, The Count of Monte Cristo, and it's starring Jim Caviezel. You may know him from the movie The Passion of Christ, and yet this one sticks to my heart very, very much from the very first time that I watched the movie. And it is directed and starred by Pearce as well, and so one of these days I'll get to interview them, but until then, the reason why I brought this movie up, and you're like, oh, it's a DVD, it's just one of those things you just cannot let go on your shelf because it has such a great message that is so uplifting. And so just to connect this to the ultimate message that I want to have with you is have faith and never let go, and with that hope, and at the end of it all you will be victorious. So this is what this movie is mainly about. So just very quickly, Edmond Dantes, who is Jim Caviezel in this movie, is just a good-natured man. In fact, he has this beautiful girlfriend that he eventually says, you know, he wants to marry, but until everything is situated with him, he wants to do the manly thing, saying everything is, you know, set, then he will marry her. And just to go and show you how beautiful this lady Mercedes is she says, I don't need a ring, you know, and she has like ties a rope around her finger and says, this is it, this is all we need. And so in this case, it really shows this beautiful love that they have for another. And yet his best friend Fernand, who is Guy Pearce in this movie, ends up just having so much envy for the life of Edmond Dantes. And Edmond can't read. It comes from a poor family, and works on a ship, and really just maintains that humble type of life. Here is Fernand, who is coming from a family that is a count, lots of money, he could have anything he wants, and yet he envies the life of Edmond. And so here starts the betrayal, when there's an opportunity for Fernand to actually betray his best friend, Edmond. He ends up doing so, which leads Edmond to end up being in this prison, this horrific prison called Chateau d'If, where people who are sent there are basically meant to just rot and never ever escape. It's an inescapable prison, and it's just where everyone is taken to that were meant to just be completely be rid of in silence. And so he is thrown into that just because of being wrongfully accused, again with the help of Fernand, his best friend, who betrays him. Here he is in this prison, and at first he's like, God has everything to do with anything, right? Everything is God, right? And in more or less words, he has made that statement from the time that he goes into this prison. And yet every year he gets lashings, just to remind him, his anniversary. It's a horrific place, not a place that anyone could even consider as prison. It's basically a place for someone left to rot. And so every year he gets these lashings on his back. And, at first he's like, there is a God, there is a God, there is a God. And, and again, in more or less words, but he loses faith because he knows he's innocent, and yet he hasn't found any way to be freed from this prison. And so as he's losing faith, he by chance ends up meeting this priest who by accident ends up being in his prison cell, who was trying to dig out of prison. And so they end up having a friendship. Now, this priest, just remarkable, the strangers that end up in your life, right? Ends up teaching him how to read and giving him the knowledge, just acquiring the knowledge that he needs as a man to grow. And not only that, teaches him how to fight, because this priest was also a soldier in the past. And at the end, there's a time where both of them could have escaped, and unfortunately the priest doesn't make it. And of course, once again, Edmond loses faith, right? And continues to just be completely broken and says, I don't believe in God anymore. And the part that sticks to me every time I hear this spoken is that the priest answers, that doesn't matter. He believes in you. And that to me is what I really want to stay with in this message to you, is that Edmond ends up being filled with riches in this story. And yet because he's so filled with hate, understandably, and he has so much in his mind to have, like a personal vendetta. He just wants vengeance for all those years. And we're talking about, over a decade of just being lashed every year. And the food that they get, it's just, you wouldn't feed to your dog, right? And they're just stuck in this cell without even a window. You can't, it's just nothing, other than a light from a sun tunnel at the top, just nothing that would make you feel like you are deserving of being alive. And so we can understand perhaps why he would have stated that. And yet here comes the priest who befriends him and then states, it doesn't matter, he believes in you. And so at the end, he has this friend when he does escape, remarkably finds a way to escape. And he ends up having, this great life. And his friend that he meets after he escapes prison, who sticks by his side, yet another person that has given him light in his life, says, why not just go? You have everything you need now. He finds his former girlfriend again, who would have been his wife, again, Mercedes, and his friend's like, why don't you just go and just live in peace? And yet he still wanted to go and lash back at those people who had helped to put him in this prison, again, understandably. And so he is just like filled with so much hate. And his friend's like, just let it go. You've got everything you need and some. Just move on and be peaceful. And he's not ready. He's wanting to hurt everyone who has hurt him. But at the end he does. He makes peace with some struggles and challenges. He finds that it's right. I just got to let it go. There is not going to be anything to get rid of the suffering that I went through, the challenges I went through, and all of the heartache and all of those years that I, felt like just ending my life. There were times where he wanted to end his life, and it showed it in the movie. And yet at the end, there was that light. There was that part that the priest had said is, he believes in you. And that part to me is like, have faith, have hope, never give up. No matter what you're going through, know that sometimes it's in the hardest part where you don't realize you're so close to that glorious day, your victory day. And sometimes, all the enemy will try to do is take you away from all of that and discourage you, because they know you are getting really close to that part. And so don't give up. Just keep telling yourself that no matter what I'm going through right now, no matter how much of the pain that I'm feeling, if I am bleeding, if I am sweating beyond what I have ever felt and gone through, do know that there are those around you who are of light and will say to you, you know what? Give yourself some peace. Keep moving. Just move on from the hate. Move away from the bitterness. Move away from anything that may be bogging you down. And stay with the part that is taking you to where you need to go. Because anytime that you have that darkness, it ends up weighing you down. And it takes you away from everything that you could already be enjoying. And so move forward. Step away from all that darkness. No matter how much you want to stay there just to get people back. We're human, and we want to, hurt people back in return from the way that we felt they've hurt us. And yet, then you are just in their darkness. And so move away from it, go forward. And that is really what I got from this movie, because in the end, they're all going to look at you and go, my goodness, all of that victory that you've gained, No matter how much we try to stop you, no matter how much we try to discourage you, we were part of the darkness that tried to pull you away or pull you down or weigh you down or keep you from achieving, and yet you persevered, and yet here you are being glorious in your light. And that all has to do with you not losing faith. Keep with the hope. Stay with your focus, stay within your path, and you will get there. That is my message for today. And again, if you have not seen the movie, and if you've seen all other movies because you've been movie binging, don't forget to watch the Count of Monte Cristo. And just, such a remarkable movie about betrayal, love, vengeance, and peace and victory in the end. So have a wonderful day, everyone. Have a wonderful moment, every moment of just going through your path, no matter what the struggles are. Keep fighting the fight. You've got this. In the words of my mother, God bless us all, and do have a great day.